Hi, Sandites. It is almost time to welcome students back to the 25-26 school year. Very excited for school to start on the 20th. Just FYI, I think you have 6 more free days until we'll expect attendance on the first day. So we're excited. We've been pretty busy this summer preparing the school year. People ask us all the time, what do you do in the summer? And I just have to kind of laugh a little bit because it's just incredibly busy. So I've got my cabinet here. I'm really excited that everybody's joining me today. So Shawn Beard is on my left, your right. Assistant Sup, Curriculum Instruction, Kristin Arnold, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources, Carrie Schlehuber, Assistant Sup, Special Education and Enrollment, Student Services, and then Cassidy, Wion, our CFO. So I don't know who wants to start. We didn't really have an order, so I'm just going to pick one of you guys to start this podcast. So let's see. Let's start with Cassidy.
Okay.
So all things finance, but that's not all you do. So you might share with our public a little bit about you acquired a couple of responsibilities.
Just a couple, yeah. Just a couple this year. One of them has been the bond issues. Right. So I feel like the bond issues are what the public sees and the progress that's happening. The admin entry addition is what, a couple months?
End of September.
Correct myself on that.
Right, couple months.
Couple months. Hit some roadblocks. Happens with construction, and this building was built 100 years ago, so a lot of changes in 100 years on construction.
So. Yeah. Sure.
And then Boyd's hitting every timeline. Drive by there, you can see all the concrete that's been laid, the storm room, and all the steel that's been put up. And then the last one will be the press box.
Right.
So,
and we've released the architects to put out construction docs for that.
Yeah.
So that work will start
after football season. So we're hoping to have it ready by this time next year. We can open up the new middle school and a new press box. So super exciting. What else in your world? You really do have a couple of extra responsibilities that I've thrown at you. Yeah, the finance stuff is probably less exciting, but just making sure we're all squared away to finish our fiscal year, which ended June 30th. And so we kind of play between 2 years, but we're doing a good job. We've got a great team in place. I don't know what else.
Your folks have been busy.
Our folks have been busy.
Kristin Arnold up next.
Yeah. Our folks have been busy. We're always busy. Yeah. If we're not busy in the finance office, then we're busy with the bond projects.
Gotcha.
If we're not busy with the bond projects,
I was kind of alluding to the fact that you kind of now are helping administrate maintenance and transportation a little bit too. So that's been a little tricky, but with your background, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, a little bit of background in geotech and in the construction world, and then just trying to lend a helping hand wherever. Yeah. We've got a new operations director. He's doing a fantastic job, and Eric, our transportation director, same thing. So his year will get busy as soon as we bring students back.
Yeah. Exactly.
The only CFO in town who stands on a roof when there's a gas leak.
That's true. Yeah, I'm going to give him that. I think he actually was acknowledged for that with a little treat the other day.
Thank you, Carrie.
We do have a couple of nuggets, safety-wise. Our bus riders are getting RFID cards. Shawn has been very intimately involved in that, and then the car rider tags are new this year for parents. So can you expand on that just a tad?
So the bus rider, the transportation program, to make it a little bit more efficient and so that we can make sure that we know when kids are onboarding the bus to go home or to get on at the beginning of the day and when they get off. They'll be getting RFID tags. That will allow the kids to get onto the bus more seamlessly and quickly. And it also ensures that we can communicate with parents to let them know when their kids will be getting home.
What's RFID?
RFID, radio frequency identification.
You didn't know the answer to that.
So it works much like a card that you would use at a hotel to fob into your hotel room, and it basically communicates with the system on the bus. So
those were safety features, to be honest, that we were really pretty intentional about adding this year, just because getting kids to school safe and home safe are really important pieces of our day. Teaching, learning, also important, but that really is a big safety issue that we have.
And the car rider tags, it's just going to change a little bit. And instead of just having a sheet of paper with your child's name on it for car rider pickup, we'll have a specific hang tag with a number that's associated with your child or all the children in your family. And that's going to speed up the car rider line. Plus, it's going to make it more secure for your child.
But I'm a grandparent. I'm just going to write my grandchild's name on the card.
We still need you to check in with the office early in the year to get one of those tags, or check with the parents of your grandchildren to see if they have a hang tag that they picked up, because they will get multiple hang tags per family.
For sure. So that's new. All that will be translated to your school site when you enroll or come to pick up schedules and such with your students. So we're excited about that. Ms. Arnold, you have some really great news. Maybe one of the things I'm most proud of, to be honest, about in terms of human resources. Want to share?
Well, I'm very happy to share that at this time we are only looking for one teacher that had to make the decision to resign late, and so we just got that last week, and so that position is posted. And then based off of enrollment, we do, if you truly went and checked, we do have another position posted, but that's because of numbers, so that's a good thing when we get to hire. But other than that, every position is filled, and for certified positions, we have all certified teacher. We don't have any adjunct teachers this year at all.
Yes.
And if you don't know what that is, ask us and we'll be happy to share, because everybody's certified, ready to go, and we're working on those last two.
What do you say when parents go, what do you do in the summer?
That is my busiest time. Well, I mean, I don't know if I could say that, but it is, there's no rest.
Right.
During that time. And it's just, to make sure that people are certified, background checks, all the forms that we have to have in, and everything's cleared through the State Department. So it is a super busy time for human resources. I do want to go back to the comment we were talking about, the football stadium. And somebody had called my office, because I also take a lot of parent questions, concerns, and those types of things. And they were asking me if they needed to bring the clear bags to the football games this year, and what that might look like, because, in the past we've done the wands and the whole 9 yards.
Right. Our protocol won't change a lot this year. We really amped up the security at our games, to be honest. And so there's not a team member on our leadership team, as you are well aware, that doesn't work games on Friday nights. There's just a lot that can happen. I think that we've learned over the course of time it's better to be safe than have to look back and go, what if? So that'll ramp back up. We will be asking our patrons to come with clear bags to enter the stadium. It's not new, really. I mean, lots of stadiums participate in that protocol, so that will not change.
So students will have to have their student IDs on them, and then parents need to come with their children.
Correct.
Yeah, none of that's changed.
None of that's changed.
If they really had a question about protocol, I mean, I knew 90% of it, but there's a couple questions that I wasn't sure. They just need to call the athletic department.
Call the athletic department, and we'll be posting that online too, in terms of safety and game expectations too. And I know Mr. Sitton will be putting that out to parents. So anyway, I'm hoping people are accessing their text messages, because that is a really great way to get direct communication from the district. Lisa Chittister's up here sitting in the background, but she is our comms director, and she's really great about making sure people know what they need to know.
There was one other question, then I'm going to get off sports, but season tickets. Somebody asked me, like, how do you get season tickets, and where the seats are with the backs and all that. Right. And I'm like, I did not know the cost. But
I don't know the cost, but that is an easy athletic call. Right. So call the athletic office. It's also listed on the website, and there may be information on the website as well, but that's an easy call to the athletic department.
That's what I said.
Good point. Good night. I'm not even going to ask you what you do this summer, because enrollment. Tell me about your world, Carrie. What do you most? I know you're going to talk about other things too.
Sure.
And the grant is a big thing.
Sure.
But maybe enrollment, because we still are accepting open transfers.
Sure.
Correct?
Absolutely. Enrollment is buzzing. We are busy. We stay open all summer, but this week is the busiest week of the summer. Right. So if you have not gotten your child enrolled with us yet, we want to make sure that you do that. That can absolutely be done online. But if you need any help or any kind of assistance, you can always come into the enrollment center and do that as well.
I feel like there's a few parents that maybe are continuing this year from last year that maybe haven't completed
OLR.
Yeah.
So online registration, again, like Ms. Durkee alluded to, if you get the text messages and you haven't completed online registration, you've probably gotten several messages from us this summer. It doesn't mean that your child isn't enrolled. If your child was enrolled with us last year and they're coming back this year, they're still enrolled, but online registration gives us the opportunity to make sure that your address is correct, that your phone numbers for emergency contacts are correct, and just gets us that demographic information. And so it's really important. There are several things that we pull from in that reporting. For example, if your child is a student that's eligible for Indian education, that's going to be pulled from that report. If they need maybe EL services or supports, pulled from that report. It also is an opportunity for you to say, yes, I want my child to be recognized through social media, the yearbook, all of those things. And then there are just a few forms in there that are really important, like the standing orders. So we ask that you give those to us every year so that if your child goes to the nurse's station that they can have something for a headache or have sunscreen or anything and there are very specific things in there that you can say yes and no to. So it's not any kind of a blanket statement.
Most of those are regulated by law, to be honest.
Yes.
So we don't really make this up, I promise. It really is required.
And some of those things are necessary to our funding sources.
Absolutely.
So,
Like
technology.
Like free and reduced lunch forms.
yes, internet access,
Yep.
Wi-Fi access
Right.
for the district.
So honestly, we'll probably do one more push this week.
Okay.
So if they get a text this week, we really would love for them to finish that OLR.
ECEC, I think we still have space at our Early Childhood Education Center. We can talk about numbers all day long. Cassidy and I really kind of we don't stress because we're in good shape, but numbers do matter. We hear people, my child's a number, and that's not true. We individualize everything. But truly, they do drive funding sources, which helps us pay for services.
Yeah, I mean, I think the focus is more to optimize the resources that are given to those kids,
Right.
Rather than putting a number on them. It's how can we maximize what we have to offer for them.
Exactly. I mean, basically, that money pays mostly staff,
Right.
teachers, and such. So,
A huge thing when you talk about, what to offer kids, and back to Ms. Schlehuber's conversation is, if they are enrolled, like they're enrolled, like you said, if they haven't filled it out, they're still on that list. But for middle school and high school, they show up that first day and they don't really have, they don't have their schedule. And we want the kids to feel really welcome right when they walk in the door, that they have that teacher assigned, they know where they're going, they have their class schedule. But if they're just kind of being dropped off or just showing up that first day, it is hard for us because there's so much happening that first day. So that's one reason this last week of a push is so important, to make sure that we make all those kids feel welcome.
we want our students to have a really great first day. I mean, I enjoy it. We'll have some media probably out at some sites celebrating the first day. You've probably been seeing television, news stations celebrating, the grand opening of the new school year, and some districts have already opened. So we're very anxiously awaiting. I didn't save you for last specifically, Shawn, but
yeah, you did.
I did. Maybe I did. This guy has been incredibly busy just to get school started. So tomorrow we'll be welcoming back all of our teaching staff in a big assembly at 8 o'clock sharp tomorrow morning. It looks simple, really, in the way that we pull it off, but I just frame kind of what your world looks like from even March through tomorrow.
So in preparation, a lot of times people will ask me the same question, were you doing this summer? And just like the rest of you have said, summer is one of my busiest times. We prepare teachers throughout these coming weeks in August, leading up to tomorrow, for curriculum workshops, leadership meetings. Our back to school session tomorrow, we have to line up a speaker for professional development for our staff. And a lot of those decisions go all the way back to January for me. So, for instance, the speaker that we have coming tomorrow, I've been talking with that speaker since December, actually. But beyond that, we also have on our annual textbook adoption cycle that we're in, we have new curriculum that we have to train our teachers in order so that they know how to start day one using that curriculum. So those workshops were last week. But
What areas?
specifically this year, our computer resource classes in elementary and our music resource classes in elementary received new curriculum this year. So they're very excited about the curriculum they received, and they're excited to get started with that. Next year, we begin the phase of looking at social studies curriculum for the following school year. So those cycles are on average about a 6-year cycle, and so we try to be good patrons of the allocated funds that we receive from the state to make sure our teachers are using the most up-to-date and current curriculum.
Yeah. I'm just going to make mention because the allocated funds from the State Department of Ed are not enough to cover a year for adoption.
So that's one of the reasons that we're very thankful to our taxpayers for passing the bond issues that we received, because if it were not for those bonds, we would not have enough to allow our teachers to be current on the curriculum, because those allocated funds from the state are not necessarily enough. It's gotten quite expensive over the years, but with the infusion of technology into curriculum, that's a big piece that has aided in those costs.
Right.
So
exactly. So that is a big lift burden off of our budget when we can utilize bond funds to do it. Cassidy and I spent a little bit of time talking about just maintenance items that sometimes surprise you. Had a couple this summer that we've had to address that kind of are big item costs that it's hard to manage your budget.
Yeah, I just think with a district our size, it's constant. There's something going on that we need to fix, you know? So those bond funds, which are earmarked specifically for those uses, either curriculum, as Shawn mentioned, or construction, repair type stuff, they help a bunch.
Right. HVAC. Making sure the air conditioners work when school starts.
It's really hard to replace those without those bond funds.
But they're earmarked for that and can't be used for
That's
for
correct.
other things. So some of the rhetoric sometimes you just think, nope, this is where the money goes, and you know that through the bonds.
Good point. I'm glad you brought that up, because truly you can't use bonds for recurring costs, because if the voters, as they do in some districts, we're very blessed here because I think the people know that we need to support kids. But if you didn't have those, then finding support for recurring costs, there would be no way. So they're specific for a purpose, and that's what we do with them. So thanks for mentioning that. Oh, goodness. Let's see. Tomorrow the teachers come back. We're getting to introduce a new theme called Spotlight Sandites, really take into consideration not just the big stuff that kids do, but also the little celebrations throughout the year. And so that's going to be, we're going to hit that theme this year. As we wrap up, anything else we want parents to know, you guys, before 6 days quickly passes?
Speaking of spotlight, you're going to spotlight your transition?
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. Thank you. Great segue. Spotlight. So this will be the third year for our Sandite Transition Academy, which serves our students with the most significant disabilities, ages 18 to 22. We teach independent living and working skills for those students. We actually just had 3 graduates from that program, and I'm so proud that those individuals are actually working or volunteering in some capacity for Sand Springs Public Schools. And so I think that's just so huge to just show this team and what they do. We really put our money where our mouth is, and so we're saying we want to train these individuals to be employed, and then we're the first one that employs them. And so another really cool thing that happened this summer, we found out that Sand Springs was one of only 2 districts in the state that got the Oklahoma Pathways to Partnership grant through the State Department, where we are going to be able to add transition services for those students at the middle school level. So students who will eventually end up at the Transition Academy after high school we're going to have a job coach there on site working with them on work skills, and we're opening 2 businesses, a plant shop and a mobile spirit store. So that is going to be really, really exciting. Our SPED team is so ready for the kids to be back because they are just ready to dive into that.
And we are fully staffed.
Yes, special ed is fully staffed.
Yay.
So
I can't, I'm knock on wood. What is our percentage for retention? Kristin, I figured that percentage up when we first had the letters of intent back in March or April. It was at 90%. Of course, we had a few people leave. I think the percentage is hanging around 87%
That's pretty high.
retention.
That's pretty high.
And it's really high. And I think maybe, I don't know, there's so many things I think to be proud of with this team in our school district, but that might be one of the ones, especially when you say adjunct is not a thing here.
Right.
So we don't have an adjunct. I'm not saying they're terrible. I'm just saying we don't have any because ours.
And if you don't understand, adjunct is when, like, you just have to have a high school diploma, and then we have to submit all this paperwork to the State Department of Ed, and then you could just be a certified teacher in a classroom. Well, not certified, but you're an adjunct
teacher.
and you teach in a classroom, but you don't have any certification.
So since we don't have any adjuncts, all of our teachers are degreed and certified.
Yes, and certified and approved to the state.
That's correct. So I feel like that's just a really huge nugget to put out and be really proud of. So I can't think of another thing unless you all have something else you want to add to our story. We'll come back in about a month, and I'm sure we're going to have a specific topic of interest. But until then, get ready, because we are. We'll see you later.